Welcome, East Hartford, to another edition of Hartford Community Leaders. My name is Lakia Siobhan Leitner, and today we proudly celebrate Women's History Month. I will be talking about two ladies that I admire in my life. I would like to also mention that March 7th is my birthday. So that's another reason why I'm honored to be born in this month, because it's Women's History Month. The first lady I would like to talk about and that I admire is actually my mother, Lorna Leona Leitner. She became pregnant with me when she was 13 years old. She was in middle school at the time. By the time she was 14 in ninth grade, she had me. And she still went to school. She still graduated on time, top of her class. We actually had our first apartment when she was 14. She actually lied on the application so we could have our first apartment. After high school, my mother transferred to pharmacy school. She majored in pharmacy for 3 years, and then she wanted to become a teacher. So she left that current college and she transferred to another college to become a teacher. And she graduated from there. And from there, she also graduated from 2 other colleges as well. And she's been a teacher in Connecticut and New York, and she also has an organization called 6K Kids Can't Wait that advocates for teachers and its students for equal education and resolving any issues that come up in the school system. The reason why I highlighted my mother is because although she had 8 of us and I'm the oldest, she has given me the drive that I have as a woman that I am. Watching her struggle, although she was a teacher, it just as a daughter, to watch her mom still do things for herself and make something of her life, it's a truly honor, and I'm happy to be her daughter. The next woman I would like to highlight for Women's History Month is my chosen saint, which is Saint Katera Tekakwitha. She is the saint that I chose during my confirmation. If you're a Catholic like me, then you know about confirmation date that you have to choose a saint. And I chose Saint Katera, especially because she's a woman like me. And I love some of the work that she has done in her life, similar to mine. I'm going to give you a brief history on Saint Katera. Saint Katera, she was born in the year of 1656 in New York City. As a child, she developed smallpox. All the kids taunted her because if you know about smallpox, it leaves little spots on your face. By the time she became a teenager, sadly, her parents passed away. By the age of 19, she converted to Catholicism. Sadly, on April 17th, 1680, at the age of 24, she passed away. However, Pope John Paul II benefied her on June 22nd, 1980. By the year of 2012, October 21st, she was canonized by Pope Benedict XVI. I hope that you enjoy your Women's History Month and have a great week, and I would like to turn it over to Donald Padgett.
East Hartford, welcome back. And we're so glad to be back with you. And we're going to continue our part 3 of leadership, our leadership series that we've presented to you right here on Hartford Community Leaders. Leadership is so very important. And so before we get back into that, I want to just go over, this thing that we're facing with the coronavirus, the flu season, cold season, how to fight germs that lead to cold and flu. And so basically there's some proactive measures that you would take action with these preventive steps. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water aren't available, use alcohol-based hand rubs. All right. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Germs spread easily this way. Cover your nose and mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze. After using a tissue, throw it in the trash and wash your hands. Clean and disinfect surfaces, objects that may be contaminated with germs. Avoid close contact with sick people. All right. If you're sick, limit contact with others as much as possible to keep the infection from infecting them. People infected with flu and may infect others beginning 1 day before symptoms develop and 5 to 7 days after becoming sick. That means you may be able to spread flu to someone else before you know you're sick as well while you're sick. All right, and so what you can do is actually go out to the CDC, and they have pertinent informations on, the cold and flu, and also updates on the coronavirus. One good thing about it, in John Hopkins University, John Hopkins Hospital, they have study where they have a dashboard out there, and it shows you all the different cases of the coronavirus all across the world. Now, this dashboard is fantastic, and it's through John Hopkins. And so, what you want to do is you want to go out there, just go back to your Google, and it's easy. You can go on your phone and Google, or your iPad, or your computer. Go to John Hopkins and dashboard, and gives you information on the cases across the world in the different areas. They even have maps of different areas where you can go into and see get any kind of updates on the different cases around the world. It's great because you want to keep up with the information. But also, like I said, go to the CDC, and it gives you tips on how to stay safe, free from these colds, flus season. And we know that, every year we have this type of season, and so you want to take measures, you and your family. Make sure you get, which is great, Lysol wipes or Clorox wipes. Those things have, disinfectants in the area, and make sure you wipe down your desk, handles of the doors, and constantly wash your hands. This helps prevent any kind of germs for happening. So basically, today we're going to part 3 of our leadership series, and I'm telling you, we've been doing a great job. We're going to get so many feedbacks, people contacting us via email about our leadership series, and so we're doing this because we see in the community that is needed. We see in the schools that leadership is needed, and so what we wanted to do is just present just basic information to the community about leadership. And Dwight Eisenhower said it best. He said, "Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it." Again, Dwight D. Eisenhower stated, "Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it." And basically, last week we gave you an overview of what leadership is. We had organizations, individuals, whatever you're working towards, whether you're in organizations or you're individual, or if you're in the workforce, leadership plays an important role. We said that number one, it creates and inspires vision of the future, motivate and inspire people to engage with that vision, and 3, manages delivery of the vision. And number 4, we said it coaches and builds a team so that it's more effective in achieving the vision. Leadership brings together the skills needed to do these things. We look at each element in more detail. And so when we said that creating and inspiring a vision, in business, a vision is realistic, convincing, and attractive depiction of where you want to be in the future. Vision provides direction, sets priorities, and provides a marker so that you can tell that you've achieved what you wanted to achieve. To create a vision, leaders must focus on organization strengths by using different tools such as SWOT analysis to analyze their current situation. They think about how their industry is likely to evolve and how their competitors are likely to behave. They look at how they can innovate successfully and shape their businesses and their strategies to succeed in the future marketplaces. And they test their visions and appropriate market research, and by assessing key risks using techniques such as scenario analysis. Therefore, leadership is proactive, problem solving, looking ahead, and being satisfied with the things that they have. Once they've developed their visions, leaders must make them compelling and convincing. A compelling vision is one that people can feel free, understand, and embrace. Effective leaders provide a rich picture of what the future will look like when their vision have been realized. They tell inspiring stories and explain visions in ways that everyone can relate. Now, you may be in the community, and you may work with community cleanup. That's part of leadership. If you're in the community, you may work with to set up a block watch. Now that's leadership, setting up a block watch, getting folks together in the community to make sure that their community is safe. Starting a block watch, work with your local authorities, say, hey, I would like to set up a block watch, and you have individuals on your street, individuals in your area that you would like to start a block watch, so that you can have a lookout and preparation of, if just in case any issues come up with burglars, people that are looking suspicious around in the particular areas, how to deal with that scenario, and basically work with your authorities to work for solutions in that area. So that is so great to have, because you hear so many people saying, oh, I've seen this, I've done this over here, I've seen this. And if you had a block watch, maybe you can come together with your authorities to say, hey, let's reduce crime in this particular area. Let's watch out for different homes and different areas and things like that. So it's effective, and it saves a lot of authorities time and efforts, and so having a block watch is so very important. If you think about doing a community cleanup, in the different areas, so you can take staffing, or you can work with youth in the community, and individuals, parents, come out and say, hey, I want to develop a cleanup, and also get your officials to work along with you in that cleanup. Get your officials, get your authorities, different organizations come together to do a community cleanup. Is so very good, because it's definitely needed in our communities. And if you want to start a community garden, they have local areas where there's free space, and that you can go in and create a community garden with the proper necessity, rights to go there. And so basically, you set up in your community, do a community gardening. If it's something that you would want to do for your community, you can basically do it. It's just by having a plan set up. We said that when you talk about leadership, a plan isn't a plan till a plan is written. So you would just go out and you develop a plan and say, hey, I would like to set up a community garden. What are the things that we need? What are the tools that we need? Within a year, what do we want this community garden to look like? What types of plants do we want to plant, in this community garden? Who's going to, upkeep the community garden? Who's going to make sure that it's well kept? The maintenance on the garden. Where's the food going to go to? In this garden, is it going to go to the homeless community? Which is a great idea to be able to say, hey, people that are in need, you can take that food and you can bring it to the different churches, because they can actually prepare the food for the individuals. And so you can say we can use this food for the homeless, and so that they can create a meal for those that are homeless. I think that is great, when you can do that, in the communities, and to set that up. And you just think about how many individuals in the community that you will be able to feed in our communities, that don't have nutritious food. They go and get a burger or something like that, but having a nutritious food, having vegetables, are nutritious value for individuals. Making salads, that is something so great. We've gone to the different homeless shelters. We've sat down. We've worked with them, and then we've also fed them. So I know that a nutritious meal helps, and it works for our homeless community. People that are either homeless or they don't have in our communities. Now, when you talk about homeless, you just think about a man or a woman that's out in the streets, but there are families that are homeless right now. And so leadership takes part of that, and it's a planning process. And you can, say, hey, we can do an analysis, from, the different area, how many people that you reach. That's what they talk about, analysis. You say, hey, our goal is to reach 500 people within our community. And so what you want to do, how are you going to reach those 500 people? What are some of the ways that you're going to reach them? Are you just going to have one location, or are you going to have 3 or 4 locations spread out through the community so that you can reach, maybe if you have 5 locations, you can reach 100 over here, 100 over here, 100 north, south, east, west. And you can reach that goal of 500 people, having the opportunity to work with different organizations to say, hey, we're going to have this, and we're going to present food, nutritious food, to community. We've had the privilege to be a part of the Promise Zone for the food share in the greater Hartford area. And so I'm telling you, this happens. We work with individuals, East Hartford, we work with individuals in all different areas, Bloomfield, all these, Windsor. I mean, we've worked with those individuals with the food share. Each year we get together and we share our experiences at one location for food share. So it's great because you can hear what this one is doing. You can hear what that one is doing. If you set up an event, you can have all the greater Hartford area and come together to work as one for providing nutritious food. So, when it comes down to community gardening, it's so very good that you can be able to set something like that up in your community. Another thing what you could do as far as leadership is concerned, which is great, the library. You can go to your local library and say, hey, I would like to volunteer my time to read to youth in the community, after school, and then you have a time where you could go in and you work with the library, and then you say, hey, what, we would like to have 1 hour or 2 hours to sit there and read to the youth in the local libraries. That's something that's very important, because a lot of children, that's what they do, is they go to the library after school and they're there in 1 hour, 2 hours before they go straight into home. And so that's very important for you to be a volunteer to work with youth, and just basically do reading, reading. It's so very, we need that in our community. Lakia and myself, we we were a part of going out to the libraries and working with students doing little activities. And so Lakia, she worked on working with little activities for the students after school, and I mean we really enjoyed that. And she was doing that for 2-3 hours a week, and so it was great to see that her working with the different students in the community. So it's really great. Another thing is if you have new talent into creating resumes for individuals in the community that are looking for jobs, you can volunteer your time in the community to say, hey, I would like to create resumes for individuals that are in need that's looking for a job. Now, when we talk about having a resume, we talked about all the different things that you need. One of the things is a 10. Now we're gonna in the near future. What we do is we'll do a class on resume writing and the things about how to create a resume. What are the 10 things that you need to understand when writing that resume? The 10 things you need before you go and look for that job, that you want to make sure that it's so important to make sure you have a check sheet with those 10 things on it, and make sure that it's all set. One of the things that we talked about was social media. Make sure your social media platforms, and I say this all the time, make sure your social media platforms are all set for networking, basically, and clean. I was at an event over the weekend, and I was talking with a lady, and I told her, some of the things that we did, and she said, "Oh yes, that's the first thing," because she said that when they look for work with individuals in the community and things like that, that's the first thing they do is they go out to your social media platform and see who they are, what friends that they have. And she said, oh, that's so very important. And so that's the reason why we say that that's one of the 10 steps that we stress to individuals. Make sure that your platform is for networking and just for with friends that are reliable friends, because that can show up on your informational. So yeah, that is the things that we work with, and so we want to make sure that these things happen in our communities. Some of the other things that you can do is work in the community. There's a lot of things you could do. Work with the homeless. We bring care packages to the homeless in the community. Now, what we do is we work with students. We work with the church members. Different churches, organizations come together. They donate a lot of different items to the Hartford Community Leaders Organization to work at bringing those items to the homeless shelters. And we've got crates and crates and crates full of shoes, you name it, hand sanitizer, soaps, things like that, to give out to the community, those that are in need. You'd be surprised, and when you go out to the homeless shelters and you see the different people and the conditions, you want to make sure that they have sanitized items, face cloths, socks, things like that. So it's great that we can be able to do that. Working with homeless in the community. That's all part of leadership. And say, hey, and when you look at it, you do a SWOT analysis, of how many people that you work with down through the year, and you say, well, I've got 1,000 people that I work with throughout the whole entire year, and these are success. You follow up with those individuals, see how they're doing. Did they receive a job? Did they not receive a job? What are some of the things that they're looking to do? What are some of the things that they're going to do? Some of their goals and objectives, and just just kind of document everything on paper and just put it all together in an analysis and say, hey, these are the success rates of what we've done and what we need to do. One other thing is that this entire week, I'm going to be in classes to work with our veterans. Yes, 3 days I'm going to be in training to work with our veterans in our community. So you talk about leadership. These are the things that are needed in our community, and it doesn't take rocket scientists to be able to take care of all this to get done. So you can do all this and make sure everything gets done when it comes down to the communities that you're in. And definitely we need to have more people in our communities to work with these different type of folks in our communities. And I'm so excited to be able to work with the veterans, and so it's going to be great. This is a free opportunity to have training. That's what I'm saying. Leadership takes the initiative to go out and get you training for whatever things that you want to do in the community. And so there is a need to work with veterans in our community. And so this is the reason why we're going to be going out doing the training basically. And I'm going to have a tough week this week, and it's going to be about 6-7 hours of training, from early in the morning till late afternoon. So I mean, and then on top of that, I've got to go into work for 12 hours. So you talk about triple jeopardy. I've got to do it this whole entire week. So I'm going to have a busy schedule. But leaders make sure things get done and make sure that they get the proper training necessary to get the job done. So we're going to be doing that coming up, working with our veterans. And so, yeah. So basically motivating and inspiring people. One of the things that I want to do and Hartford community leaders would like to do throughout the greater Hartford area is to be able to motivate and inspire people. And that's our ultimate goal. This is why we bring to you these segments on leadership, is to motivate and inspire you to become better, to get involved in your community. Get involved with doing something in your community. I gave you some examples of what you can do, in your community. And there's got to be hundreds of things that you can do, things that you can create in your community to make your community better. A compelling vision provides a foundation for leadership, but it's leaders' ability to motivate and inspire people that helps them deliver the vision. So what we want to do is give you the vision. We want to deliver the vision to you so that you can become an effective leader, and to start somewhere. This is why we talk about resumes. We talk about the things that you do to create a resume, things to do to get a job. If you're facing financial literacy, what are the things about establishing credit? Creating a savings account, for you and your family. We talk about all these different topics so that we're preparing you for leadership. All right. For example, when you start a new project, you will probably have lots of enthusiasm. Yes, you're enthusiastic about it and how to go about it. So it's often easy to win support in the beginning. Everybody wants to come in, and everybody wants to talk about, hey, we want to get this done and things like that. But it's not easy, because once you get started and you start to meet with folks and you plan, you have the event, and people get less inspired, less enthusiastic, and they start to drop off. We've seen that happen through our experience. We work with a community. Individuals get so busy into what they're doing, they forget about the community building. They just want to get the lights, camera, and action when it's time to get the work done. But then when you need them to do other things, then they're nowhere to be found. And so this is why we have to inspire people to make sure that it's rooted with on the inside of them, that they're going to continue this work for future. And it's not a one-day thing. It's every day that you work with individuals in the community for change. Just over the weekend, I was speaking with individuals from different organizations and talking about Alzheimer's, how Alzheimer's is something that's the message needs to be presented more about Alzheimer's, and some of the causes and effects of Alzheimer's, and so this organization, they meet, and so we'll be talking with them, and so getting information about them, and hopefully we can have them come on to talk to you about Alzheimer's, and so these things is needed in our community, and so enthusiasm fades, especially if the team or organization needs to make sufficient changes in the way that it does things. Leaders recognize this, and they work hard throughout the project to connect their vision with people, individuals' needs, goals, and aspirations. So, going this way, you always have to have engage with folks and make sure that they are inspired to continue to do whatever is necessary to get the job done in the communities. I think it's so prevalent for us to do that in our communities. It says here, work hard through the project to connect their vision with people, individuals' needs, goals, and aspiration. Everybody have their needs. Everybody want to know what the goals are, and one of the things I think is good is if you can have individuals responsible for certain, certain projects or certain things that they do, and within the community. If you are working to make change in your communities, have individuals go out and do their homework, basically. A lot of times what they do is they just say, hey, this is one time. No, you're constantly working on ways to develop new ideas in your community. So one of the things that we're planning to do coming up real soon is working with the high school students. So I've developed a PowerPoint presentation, which is like 20 pages long, working with community leaders to work with students in high school and in college, and from middle school to college background. So we have those presentations to work with, and so this week I'm going to be meeting with the different staffs and making phone calls to the different staffs so that we can work. And we have individuals that work with Hartford community leaders that have their responsibilities set up, and through the different organizations, through the different individuals, everybody is responsible for something. And so basically what we do is we come together and we meet often. If we can't meet often, what we'll do is we'll do a telephone conference. If not telephone conference, what we do is we email one another and get updates through email about what's happening with what we're trying to present to the community. And like I say, some of the topics are career goals and objectives. We'll be talking about financial literacy, emotional intelligence, all these different things that we'll be talking about. And we have a series of workshops that we'll be working with the students on, which is needed in the community. I'm telling you, it's great. But it's time. It takes time to create the plan and have it written on paper, and then also implementing that plan so that we can work with the students in different schools on these different topics that we've been presented. I mean, so it's great, but we're working with the schools to implement inside the schools. So this is great opportunity for us to be able to work hand on with our students. I'm looking forward to doing that, working hands on with the students in our communities. And so, yeah, if you would like to get a part of it, send us email, hartfordhcl@gmail.com, hartfordhcl@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to work along with you to work. We'll be currently at the different high schools and here in East Hartford, throughout the greater Hartford area. So it's great. Explanation that hard work leads to good results. People got to understand that hard work leads to good results. If you just put 10 minutes of time into something, then it's going to show. Recently there was a band that went over in the news to Chile, and so it was a band that went over to Chile. They did a concert. They were 20 minutes late for the concert, and the fans, they weren't happy over in Chile. And so also the performers, I guess they had little attitude problems because they were late 20 minutes and they had personal issues and things like that. And when they performed to the audience, they didn't give a great performance. The people saw that they had attitude problems. They wasn't engaging with the audience, and the music wasn't all that great. And so now, the people over in Chile, they weren't happy from the concert. They stated that they spent their money for artists that was 20 minutes late, that came in with an attitude. There was no engagement with the crowd, and it was like, terrible. And so, and his reaction was, oh, we tried to give our 100% a good performance. But yeah, I do want to say that I did have attitude, and we did have attitudes because we were 20 minutes late, and we want to apologize for that. No, listen. You got to give your best, at all times, because you never know who's out in the audience that is watching or seeing what you're doing in the community. And when I was in the band, I always told my guys that were in the band, always do your best, because you never know if another promoter is in the audience to say, hey, I like your music. I like the way you present it to the audience. I like the way the audience gave feedback on your performances and things like that. Always do your very best when you're doing something. That's just like when I go and to the different churches and speak into these different places. And one of the deacons told me Sunday, said, yeah, you here? And I said, yeah, I'm here. I want the lead mic. He laughed on that when I told him I wanted the lead mic. Now, basically if I get the mic, and I'm going to make sure that people are inspired. I'm going to give them an encouraging word. I'm going to motivate them to become the best that they can become, regardless of anything that's going on. I want to inspire people, and I want people to have breakthroughs in their lives, in their family lives, in their personal lives. I want them to not worry about, what's going on. A lot of people worry because worrying can eat you up. Let me say that again, this for somebody out there. Worrying can eat you up. And for a person to worry, you have to do something about it. We have to, if you got an audit against somebody, then you go to that individual and get that straightened out, between you and that individual. And instead of you worrying about that whole situation, the communication between you and that individual may be something totally different. You know what I'm saying? They might not have an understanding that you have. So by you going to that individual and you working it out, and that's all we talking about leadership today. And if they don't understand something, then you want them to understand where you stand, stand at, so that you all can come to an agreement on what's going on. But if you keep things going and it's going to eat at you, and you're going to be you're going to be worried about what's going on, and they're going to be worried about what's going on. And it's just going to be all confusion. Two, two people confused. So you want to make sure that you have the expectations, and that you work toward progress in your communities. So expectations that hard work leads to good results. Expectations that are good results lead to attractive rewards and incentives. Hey, that's a plus, because like I said, if that band had done what they were supposed to do over in Chile, and individuals in the audience, you might have had promoters there, you may have organizations there that would like to book that band, now, they got a bad name, for themselves for being 20 minutes late, not performing the way they're supposed to perform. And so now they're going to reap the benefits of that one concert over in Chile, overseas there. And different promoters from all the different areas, they're going to say, well, we don't want to book that band anymore. So make sure when you do something, make sure you do it to the fullest. Take time out to do your homework. Take time out to do everything you need to do for that presentation. This motivates people to work hard to achieve success, because they expect to enjoy rewards, both intrinsic and extrinsic. Other approaches include restating the vision in terms of benefits it will bring to the team's customers, and take frequent opportunities to communicate the vision in an attractive and engaging way. All right, so you want to make sure that the success that you have brings you enjoyment and reward for what you're doing. What particularly is helpful here is when leaders have expert power, people admire and believe in these leaders because they expect in what they do. They have credibility, and they've learned the right to ask people to listen to them and follow them. This makes it much easier for these leaders to motivate and inspire the people they lead. All right. And so we have to be very inspirational. We have to be very motivational. When people are around me, they say, oh, you're so happy, you're so joyful, you love being around people. I'm human too. So I'm not the Superman. I'm human, when it comes down to individuals, being around individuals. I get shy. Yes, of course. Somebody said, well, you talking in front of the camera, you're out in the community and you're doing all these different things. Yes, I do get shy. I get tongue-tied when it comes down to sometimes. I am an individual. And so, and inspiring others, I have to inspire others. So I have to make sure that I present a persona that say, hey, that we can do this, and that we're going to do this. You can be empowered by what you're doing, and so I have to be inspired myself to do, and to be a leader. You have to be inspired, and you have to be able to motivate, inspire others in the community to do whatever you need to, so that we can get the job done. But just want to say that leaders are human too. We get tired, when we see other people that don't perform at 100%. to do what they're supposed to do, and we get tired also, but one of the good things about leaders is that we don't let our tiredness get in the way of making sure that things are done, because we roll up our sleeves. If we have to take out the trash, we will. If we have to set up tables, we do that. If we have to set up cameras, we'll set up cameras. If we have to do interviews with individuals out in the community, we'll do that. If we have to, talk with individuals one-on-one, different organizations, school officials, you name it, if we have to do all these things, leaders will do it. If individuals don't have the responsibility to do what they need to do, and don't uphold their responsibilities, the leader's job is to make sure that it gets done one way or the other, to elect a second person to do whatever needs to get done. We will get it done. So that's what leaders do. So leaders can also motivate and influence people through their natural charisma and appeal, and through other sources of power. That's what we're talking about. But what I wanted to say to you is that leaders are real too. Leaders are people too. We hurt. Sometimes we go home, we're aching and with pains and things like that. And so sometimes we need a break from, every day when we're dealing with our community. We need a break too. So that's why if everybody in your team can make sure that they do their job in their team and stay in their lane, things will work out well. And so these are what is needed in our communities today. So managing delivery of the vision. This is the area of leadership that relates to management. Leaders must ensure that work needed to deliver the vision is properly managed, either by themselves or by dedicated manager or team of managers whom the leader delegates the responsibility. And they need to ensure that their vision is delivered successfully. To do this, team members need to perform goals that are linked to the team's overall vision. And so the approach helps to ensure that what should happen really happens. All right. So we talked about, having a team of other managers or leaders, make sure that things happen the way they're really supposed to happen. So in the plan, one year we did a job and housing workshop. So we had this outline, we had the analysis, we had the plan on paper, and so we had everyone that was part of that team give an overview of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, and whether their responsibilities are. It worked out very well. We needed computer laptops for a job and housing workshop, because we wanted to have organizations come in and individuals come in, and then we were going to sit down and work with those individuals to create resumes, to create email addresses for those individuals. So that worked out well. We had about 10 computers, laptop computers set up, which was great. And 10 laptops. We had 10 individuals that sat down at the interviewing these individuals to create basic resumes for getting jobs. So it was great. Each individual received a resume. They received they received an email address, how to go to their local libraries in the communities to work on on the computer to fill out applications. And so it worked out very well. But we had those individuals plan out the things that they wanted to do. We had them plan out the things that they wanted to do. And so we did that, and it worked out really well, really well. So to do this, team members need performance goals that are linked to the team's overall vision. And so they present a performance goal on what they would do, how they would do it, and what are some of the things that they'll face doing it, and what is the outcome of what they're doing to do that. So it takes a team to plan those different things, and so each individual in that team presented what they would do. All right, and so leaders also need to make sure that they manage change effectively. This helps to ensure that the changes needed to deliver the vision are implemented smoothly and thoroughly with the support and the back end people affected. All right. So, one of the things is that we want to have breakout sessions for this particular workshop that we were doing for job and housing workshops. And so one of the things is that we want to have separate locations to go and do one-on-one interviews with individuals. We had businesses come in throughout the local communities to do their interviews and to do interview and hiring right on the spot. And so that worked out really well. We had individuals in the community that were getting hired on the spot. And so we had breakout sessions where they had a room where the business owners can go and conduct that interview right then and there, which was really great. Also, we had breakout sessions so when the organizations, wanted to speak to an individual directly, or individual people to work with different resumes or special circumstances, had room breakout sessions for those different individuals in our community. So we did that to have those breakout sessions in the community. And so it was great to be able to do that in the community. So what I'm saying to you today is that leaders will also make sure that you be able to manage change. There's going to be certain circumstances when you're doing a workshop, when you're doing a forum, when you're doing an event. Things are going to happen that's not going to go right, and so you've got to be able to manage change. There may be a computer monitor that might not be working. So what are you going to do? You're going to be able to take that situation and turn it to a positive. You know what I'm saying? And so how would you be able to do that? You have be able to do that is that you bring a backup computer monitor to make sure that that you have the proper monitors for your presentations. And so that's what you need to do. And so how can you do that? Just go out basically and get a new computer monitor and have two computer monitors instead of one, because you never know what may happen. Make sure you have an extra table set up, extra chairs. There was a wedding that we went to recently, and in the reception area, in the dinner, they ran out of chairs, and so, we all was going around, and what we were doing is going around, and I took my leadership skills and I went out and I got chairs to bring in, and so that's the thing that leaders do, to make sure that when something happens, that you can be able to come back with what's needed, and to you become overcome by you're an overcomer, and it can run. Everything can run smoothly. I didn't want no congratulations and because I went and got chairs, or I got little cups for individuals, or forks or knives. I didn't, I wasn't looking for a pat on the back for that. I just did it because I wanted to make sure that this young man who was married, make sure everything was all set for him. And so that was that. And so, Sunday, I saw him at church, and he gave me a handshake. He said, "I appreciate, everything that you've done." And I congratulated the individual. That's what leaders do. They don't have to get a handshake or a congratulation or a pat on the back to make sure things get done. So you want to make sure things get done in your organization, individually. You want to make sure things get done so that the vision can be met. Work that we're doing, and we need volunteers. We need people that can step up to leadership roles to make things happen for us. If you have an idea, if you have a plan or an idea that you like to implement in the community, we'd love to have you come and join us and work along with us to make sure things get done in our communities. We need you to support our communities to make sure that we have a vibrant, safe community, and to also make sure that our children become good citizens in our community. And so that's one of our goals and objectives. And so, yeah, we love, and I love this leadership series. I love this because I love to motivate and inspire others. And once again, before we leave, I want to give this quote from Dwight D. Eisenhower. He said, "Leadership is the art of getting someone else's to do something you want done because he wants to do it." Make sure that you inspire others. Make sure that you motivate others to get whatever you need to get done, so that our community is vibrant. All right. And so again, if you would like to have a copy of this creative leadership series that we're teaching on, just email me at hartfordhcl@gmail.com, and we can send you over a copy of it. So great information for you to have, great format for us to have. And next week we're going to sum it all up, and we're going to give you some SWOT analysis on what you can do to make sure leadership. And we're going to have it scrolling on the screen. So stay tuned to the next program. We're going to give you SWOT analysis to show you the different leadership, how the different leadership team is set up. All right. And so we're looking forward to that. And I want to say happy, great history, Women's History Month. And we're going to bring you some more of great women in history as we celebrate Women in History Month. All right. And East Hartford, it's been great being with you, and I can't wait till the next time we meet. All right. See ya.